guys, got another gun. I've already put a little video up about it. It's this Mossberg 715T 22 long rifle shaped like an AR-15. I wanted to do a video of shooting it and kind of showing you what it can do and everything. I don't have the technology to make multiple shots right now. You know, the good videos. We're working on it. We want to ramp this thing up and do a better job. But I wanted to talk about this gun a little bit just because I'm not sure I'm going to hold on to it, which probably tells you everything I think about the weapon. But not quite, because even as I was walking outside to make this video, I was second guessing myself. The weapon, like I said, it's a Mossberg. It's nothing about it functions like an AR-15. It is just a mock-up, really. The one thing it has is the M16A2 sights, a style of M16A2 sights. It's got a peep sight like the A2. It's got the windage and elevation. I got this weapon for $55 off of a buddy, and you would think at $55 you couldn't find anything bad about it, but when I got it, it was jamming after every shot. Wouldn't cycle. So I had to tear it apart and start going through it and figuring out what the problem was. And I'm not a gunsmith, and it took me tearing this thing apart 5 or 6 times to finally fix the problem. And in that process, I figured out a few things about this weapon. Everything I've read about the action. There's actually a decent little 22 rifle in the middle of this. The part that looks like an AR-15 is just this clamshell plastic cover that fits over a receiver and a barrel. Everything I've read about the internals of this weapon, which I believe is the Mossberg 705T, if I remember correctly, is that it's a solid little weapon. Even tearing apart those internals, I dropped the trigger housing group, where the problem was, there was a small little stamped steel piece on top that was the rails for the bolt. A screw had gotten loose in that, and that was what was causing the jamming. The whole thing to me looked cheap and shoddy. There was not one individual part of this weapon that impressed me. Let me take that back. I was disappointed in every part of this weapon. It's difficult to disassemble. There's probably 10 or 15 screws. It doesn't have any. It doesn't have any redeeming features. The price is more than you can pay for a good basic Ruger 10/22. It's flimsy. You know, I've talked to several guys who have these, and they've talked about how easily they break. I know one guy, him and his brother both got them for presents from their grandfather, and they broke them pretty quickly. So saying all that, you'd think I don't like this weapon, and I don't. It's probably not going to stay in my arsenal. I'm probably going to trade it for some chain link fencing. However, I don't want to just diss the weapon. It's not designed. I don't think it was ever intended to be a reliable go-to weapon. It's not supposed to be a competitor for the Ruger 10/22 or any of the clones or similar weapons. It's a toy, and I don't say that derisively. I'm not insulting the weapon. It was designed to be a toy. This would be a great little first weapon for a kid. If you were getting a 12-year-old his first gun, this would be one to think about. It's really cool. He'd like it. It's kind of a fun little gun to have and play with, and you pick up and it's kind of cool. It brings a smile to your face, but it's not strong enough or reliable enough or well built enough for me to want to train with it and invest time and energy into it, because if things ever really got serious, this weapon's not going to survive. If you're running and jumping and rolling and sleeping with your weapon and all that stuff, this one's going to get broken. There's a few other reasons why I don't like it as well. It has one piece of training value. If your AR-15 has the M16 A2 style sights with the peep sight and the windage and the elevation and everything, you could tell me this weapon has some training value in that you could familiarize yourself with those sights and learning to use the peep sight with inexpensive 22 rifle ammunition. That being said, you can do that with other weapons as well. You can put peep sights on good, reliable weapons. The other downside is that it feels a little bit like your AR-15. In fact, it feels a lot like your AR-15 from the pistol grip and everything, and the magazine, and maybe even a little bit of the weight. But it doesn't function anything like your AR-15. So you could get some bad muscle memory and get some bad habits. Specifically, the magazine doesn't drop anything like your AR. The bolt doesn't work like your AR. It has a fake charging handle. That by itself just insults me. If something doesn't have any function on a weapon, it shouldn't be there. They should have either found a way to make that function, or they should have left it off. This is just a toy, and you know what? It's a great little toy. And if you've got room in your safe and your budget, and you want a little toy, maybe pick one of these up. But the weapon in and of itself isn't serious. Serious men can own it, serious men can play with it, serious men can shoot it, but the weapon itself isn't serious. And it is not, in my opinion, quality. Except the barrel. The barrel seems to be decent. So I don't know. That may be something to that would be a plus for the base rifle, the little Mossberg that's inside all this. Maybe it's got a decent barrel. I don't like the action. It doesn't, to me, look like it's sturdy. There's only one little screw that holds everything in place, and it backed out on this one and stopped the whole function of the rifle. I was not impressed with a single piece of this weapon. So there you go. Even at $55, it doesn't fit me. Now at $55 is a lot of money to me, though. So I know someone else might, a rifle that works for $55. What's to complain about? Nothing really. If I had room in my budget or room in my safe for a toy, yeah, I would keep this. Now, I would never pay full price for this weapon. You can buy a Ruger 1022 for right at $200, $210, brand new. Why you would ever buy a toy, and a Ruger 1022 is a phenomenal little weapon. Everyone knows this. This isn't new information. You can do anything with it. You can customize it 6 ways to Sunday. Rely upon it. You'll be giving it to your children and grandchildren, and I don't know why you would ever bypass a great little weapon like that, or any of the other really good, reliable 22s out there, to buy a gimmick. And that's what this is. This is a gimmick. I understand from reading some of the stuff online that Walmart actually went to Mossberg and asked them to build this gun at this price point. And I think everybody made a lot of money off of it. I don't know that you can blame Mossberg for this. If Walmart comes to you and says, we want a couple $100,000 or something, that's winning the lottery. So I don't blame Mossberg for building the weapon. I don't think it's one they would have made by themselves. And I think their reputation is going to hurt them having made it. If you get an opportunity to pick one up, keep this in mind. When you first pick it up and feel it, it feels okay. It doesn't feel awful. But if you ever have the extreme misfortune to have to pull this thing apart, every individual piece of it is flimsy and it is complex, and there is no payout for the level of complexity, and you will never, ever, ever, ever be able to rely upon this thing in the field. In fact, the mag release switch worries me. It's really flimsy, and I'm pretty sure this would be the first thing to break on the weapon. And then you can't drop the magazine, and then what do you do? I'm sure it's fixable, but if you pull those little parts out, they really feel like little plastic toy parts. I was excited about it when I got it. I mean, I thought it was really cool when he first told me about it, and I picked it up and whatnot, but haven't pulled it apart and shot it a little bit. It shoots fine, by the way. I mean, it shoots like you'd expect. it doesn't fit into a prepper or a survivalist or even a poor man's arsenal. So that's my thought process on it. If you got one and you like it, I'd love to hear about it. But I'm not impressed. Thanks, guys.